Well, hello, my friends. We're back. The Oneness Project. Sharon, Steve, and all of you. And we are the Oneness Project. Otherwise, we wouldn't be one. So, yeah. So whether you believe it or not, you are part of it. You can go off now if you want, but you're still part of it. Just because we said. Okay, we had a lot of people watching our last video. We were all about the George James. Started talking a little bit about him, and I guess a lot of people like that topic.
George Floyd.
George Floyd, I should say. George James, where did I get that from? George Floyd, yeah. Anyways, it was an interesting video, no doubt about it. I'm glad a lot of people watched it. We're gonna kind of go in that same vein now, coincidentally. We thought like usual. Sharon and I talk for about an hour and a half before we do the videos. And then after we're finished talking, we still don't know what we're going to talk about. So we just talk about it anyways. And we're going to talk about today, the theme that came out through the conversation we had was, what about all lives matter, or Black Lives Matter? There's a big friction in that conversation, and how does that apply to our oneness, or how do we look at that from the oneness of all perspective? And I'm going to turn this over to Sharon, who usually has like the most awesome pearls of wisdom on this sort of stuff. So Sharon, what's your viewpoint on this?
It's almost like this video could be 3 minutes long, because it's from the oneness perspective, all lives matter. But in saying that, I want to respect the feelings of those who feel like, their life matters now more than anyone else's, because of, what I want to say is I understand where they're coming from. Okay. I do understand the movement, why it exists, and why people want to send that message out there that Black Lives Matter. The other side of the coin on this issue is that there are those people who are non-Black, or some people who are non-Black, and hearing that mantra that Black Lives Matter, they could take it to mean that their lives don't matter, only Black Lives Matter. But I know that's not what the movement is about. But that is how I believe that some people who are non-Black might take that. And I believe this is what is causing friction in some people's hearts and minds. So I think that if the movement could have been less divisional, cause less anger surrounding it, if one word was added to the mantra, and that's the word "to," or maybe even the word "also." So Black Lives Matter too, or Black Lives Matter also, would send a more less divisive message, okay? Because I think what has happened, or what has happened in the history of Blacks in America, and maybe worldwide to some extent, is that we have been, and I'm including myself, we have been devalued somewhat. And I know on a higher perspective, or a oneness perspective, devaluing is really a mental concept. When you feel devalued, it's you feeling it. No one can devalue you. But taking that out of the argument for now, yes, as a people, there are some who feel like they're being devalued by non-Blacks. And of course, they want to remedy that. And the remedy, or one of the remedies, was to come up with a Black Lives Matter movement. And I support the idea that, you know, that people should do whatever they need to do to find a balance in their life. Okay. And this is one thing that they're doing. But the lesson from this is that there could be a more or a less divisive way of doing it. And I'm repeating myself by just simply adding that word "to" at the end of that mantra. So that's what I have to say about that initially. As we go on the discussion, I'll see if anything else comes to mind. But from the oneness perspective, all lives matter.
Yeah, well, from the oneness perspective, we are all lives.
We are all lives, so yeah.
The only way it cannot matter is if you don't think you matter.
Exactly.
So, because you are all people, and that's what is so amazing about this truth. I recommend any of you that are, if you're watching right now and you haven't joined up to the Oneness Spirit Guide on Facebook, to do so. We have some material there about from different people and scientists that show that we are living in parallel universes, and when we make decisions, we expand and become each other, and all of those sort of things like that. It's actually a scientific thing that we are all each other. It's scientific. It's also spiritual. Jesus spoke about it. If you go into our other videos we've done here, we expound upon how Jesus showed that, how it's shown through scripture, Solomon, who is Jesus, and we are Jesus, and all of that. It's all in there. It's all in the other videos, and they're fantastic. It's a wonderful revelation. I myself come to through this realm. Just so happened that Sharon saw me doing some videos on it, and we got together for this. About why would people say Black Lives Matter and not answer and use the also in "to" in that? It seems like a natural way of expressing oneself. Like if somebody is demeaning me, or over time not, or showing that they don't see me as an equal or of value to them, I will eventually say, hey, I matter too.
Yeah.
I won't say, hey, I matter. Usually I'll say "to" on top of it, or all as well, especially if it's a group of people and I'm the one that's being singled out. I'll say, I matter as well, not I matter. That's it, right? So why would they say I matter and not as well? And my understanding from what I got from this is, this is the type of language that comes out of being in being an offense, or being offended by what's going on around me. When people become offended, all of us, every one of us, generally, when we become offended, we tend to look at the surroundings of our environment, not past ourselves, because we're hurt. Each individual consciousness feels this hurt or pain, we feel a form of separation. When we feel a form of separation, we tend to act from only ourselves. They didn't mean anything harm by it, nor I don't think anybody meant any harm by saying all lives matter back. You know what I mean? There was no real meaning of harm by it. It was just when somebody is in pain. If I break my leg, I don't say, hey, I don't usually appeal to everybody around me. I say, I broke my leg. I'm hurt here. Please help me. I need help now. That's what Black Lives Matter needs. Without the also, without the "to." It's like, we're really hurt here. Can you come help me, please? That's what
I like that fact that you brought the leg up, because that brought up an image to me, and also a message that's in the Bible that we're all members of one body.
Yeah.
So if we broke our right leg and we're saying, oh, we're paying all the attention to the right leg,
Yeah.
right? And then the left leg is not getting any attention at the moment. That's okay. It really is all okay when we can see it from a perspective of oneness. But which most of us aren't seeing life from that perspective right now, right? We feel the separation. So yes, the left leg is going to be wondering, why is all the attention being given to the right leg right now? Well, because it's hurting. Isn't there a story in the Bible about, is it the prodigal son? And the son that stayed home didn't get a party, didn't get that celebration, that the son who left home and came back, and wasn't he a little bit not happy about that, I think?
Oh yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
parable was a lot about religion. What a lot of people don't realize with that parable is when he left the father to begin with, this was talking about a Pharisaical Jewish religious concept of following rules and all of the stuff like that. That's what he left. He left that concept where the brother stayed there and did what he thought was what the religion told him was good, right? And in fact, in most translations, the first rendering of the word father is not in uppercase; it's in lowercase, as in not God necessarily. It's so he's leaving his actual father, which when Jesus was expressing it was specifically talking about a Jewish family, and he was leaving that, saying, "I am out of here. I'm tired of following all these rules.
Right.
I'm tired of following all that."
Yeah, I didn't mean to go off subject though, Steve. What I wanted to
This will bring back to the subject though. And when he came back to this God.
he got a celebration, a party. And then the son that was the good son, right, that stayed home and didn't leave home and was obedient, was wondering, well, how come you didn't throw a party for me?
Yeah.
So this is kind of what's going on right now, and it's a natural human instinct, and not just human. Life always tries to balance itself out. Okay? Yeah. There's always a balancing act going on in life. And yes, if one if there's something broken in your body, all of your energies are going to go over there to fix it. Okay? And in the society right now, the Black community feels as though they need something. So energies are now going there, and a lot of attention is being placed there. But why I say that adding the word to could help the divisiveness, it's just that because there are some people who don't understand why all attention is going there right now. So we can help those people while we're helping ourselves, right? I think we could have the best of both worlds.
But there's something to me in this. Okay, we can say that somebody will look at it and go, "Oh, does that mean my life doesn't matter?" Well, that speaks a lot, because I mean, personally, when I heard the Black Lives Matter movement, it was quite apparent to me that they meant to as well. It was that's what they were saying. But they were just expressing it out of a deeper anxiety.
Right.
Like I would if I broke my leg. Right? I'm not saying your leg doesn't matter. I'm just saying mine's broken right now, right? So, and then it comes across to the idea that maybe these people don't realize that there is maybe some brokenness in this in this? Or is it possible that maybe there is some maybe over exaggeration from the other perspective? But we'll find a balance in this. And that's the beauty of all of these things that we've been talking about up until now with our videos, is this whole contrast where we find peace, right? This shows a wonderful portrait of the contrast of of living in peace. And going back to the oneness message again, I have been actually considering doing this. I haven't even brought it up to you. I don't know how to go about doing it, but I'm going to try to figure it out. I've been thinking about doing some videos or some audios on some meditations to help us remind ourselves about the oneness that we are. So
that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. So because I do believe that everybody knows this to be true. And I think one of the struggles that maybe we have, I have, is that it seems like such a complex thing to express in words, because, and it is, but I believe everybody already knows it. If we just remember that we are each other, that's it. If it doesn't hit you with your ear right now, somewhere along the line, every individual consciousness here something will happen, will remind them, I am that person. I really am. And that's what it comes right down to. And I find that these Black Lives Matter things, when you have this type of hurt in one area of consciousness of people, it creates this portrait. It creates it's like an energy, I suppose, that reminds us that it is the case. It kind of gets right down into you. It makes people think. It makes people remember. So when I say Black Lives Matter and somebody says, well, all lives matter, and then the other one goes, yeah, but you don't understand. There you go. That's wonderful. That's awesome. That is a wonderful contrast that's happening right now. And in the oneness understanding of things, we celebrate that.
Yes, we do.
We find a wonderful.
We celebrate contrast. Yeah, because it is through the war, on the other side of war, or on the other side of anxiety, on the other side of Gehenna or hell, is peace. That's how you get to peace. You have to go through these experiences. So we're not afraid of them. We don't invite them into our lives, but we know that they exist, and we don't have to experience them. That's taking this to a whole nother level. We know that there's a way that, in life you experience what you focus on. You bring experiences to yourself. Okay. Now we can't get into that, but we acknowledge these kind of anxious experiences that are going on I don't want to say war. War sounds like such a heavy word to use to describe this Black Lives Movement thing that's going on. But for want of a better word, we're going to say it's warlike. But we're not afraid of it. And this is the beauty of coming to the knowledge of that we are all one. We know it on an intellectual level. We feel it in every cell of our body that we are the cop. We are George Floyd. Okay, we are you. We are Black. We are white. We are everything. We're the one spirit or the one mind expressing itself as separate individual things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're one of those things. And in that sense, we're of the same source.
Yeah.
Have the one Father, some would put it. It's a beautiful concept to live by. And when you know that, you don't really have to worry about whether you matter or not, because you know you do. You matter just as much as anyone else, regardless of whether they feel that way or not. When you know you matter, it doesn't matter if they feel opposite, if they don't agree with you.
Yeah.
You see? So
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. It's not offensive at all. And it's funny, I find that since I've come to this understanding as well, I don't really have people don't argue with me much anymore because my energy and spirit is completely different. It doesn't really make much sense for them really to argue for very long, if any time. They may get offended to the point where they just think I'm stupid and walk away. I mean, I suppose all through my life people have been doing that, but maybe in a better way now. But there was something I was going to say. A verse came to me, as it often does. I'm not going to look it up or whatever it is. Most people, if you're a Christian, you'll know. But Jesus said, "What you've done to the least of these, you've done to me." And if you look at the context of that verse and everything, you're like, well, what least of these? What are the least of these? I mean, scholars have gone back and forth to figure out what particular people that these least of these were. And after reading it for a long time, I really studied that a lot. I came to the conclusion before I even really understood the oneness is what he was saying is whatever your idea of the least of these is, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
It's also you, because we are him. Now I understand in the oneness concept, anybody who I think are weak or lower or useless or terrible. So if I'm Black Lives Matter and I see that cop, that's the least of these. The cop is yeah, but I mean the Black Lives Matter want the cop to burn. Right?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean? The cop is what Jesus was talking about when he said, whatever you've done to the least of these, you've done to me.
Oh, so the cop is the least of these in some people's mind right now.
To the people that want the cop to fry,
that's
the least of these he's talking about. So if you want the cop to fry, you want me to fry.
Mm-hmm.
See? That is an amazing message. All the people that we want to see justice in a painful way or get back at or go to jail for a long time or suffer, you are wishing that upon Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at it from that perspective, it changes the whole perspective.
And then I don't want to throw guilt out there, because in the oneness message, there's also this knowing that everything is okay as it is. Okay? That there is a time for war, there's a time for peace, and not just a time, there's a place in the world, in the universe for every expression of God, every expression of mind.
Yeah.
So I actually, in the last video, I said that those who are expressing warlike behavior or expressing the negative aspects of mind, and I'm not using the word war and negativity in the sense to say that it is something bad, because in the oneness idea, in the oneness message, the idea of good and bad doesn't exist. Everything just is. Mm-hmm. Okay? But there is positive and there is negative and there is neutral. And we're all that at the same time. But each of us are expressing a different aspect of the whole spectrum, positive, negative, and neutral. Right. So there is a place for the negativity. And I think that those who are expressing and experiencing all of that negativity, I consider them sacrifices for sin. They're sacrificing their happiness so that we can find peace, because without them, we wouldn't know what the opposite of negative is.
Right.
We need them. So can we say thank you to the cop. Thank you to George Floyd.
Of course.
Thank you to the Black Lives Movement.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter movement. Thank you to all those people who are feeling and expressing rage right now. Thank you to them, because they're helping me understand that there is an opposite to rage and that there's something beyond that to aspire to.
Yeah.
They're
That there is peace. They're
Yeah.
helping us understand. That's why when it says, Jesus said, what you've done to them, you've done to me. You've also done to yourself. I mean, I could go on and on and on, right? So he said, and we go back to Mark 9, he says, and that's fine. He's in Mark 9 when he says, you know, all of us will be salted with fire, means preserved through the fire. But, you know, it's fine. You can be tormented by that fire as much as it's necessary for you to find peace. That's fine. But really, from this perspective, I'd rather you not have to go through that. From a human perspective, I'd rather you just choose the peace. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful message.
Better said is that we know that every one of us, this is our belief, that everybody is going to go through the hell and come out on. In other words, we did in another video, all road leads to heaven. I think that's what we titled it.
Yeah.
So we know that there are some of you who are ready to transition from the negative experience into something more balanced.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a little bit more over to the positive, or maybe you just want to come into peace, which is the middle path, but it's still along the spectrum. And those are the people we're talking to. We don't want to shame and blame those who are experiencing and expressing negativity, because we actually understand that there is a place for that.
Absolutely.
But those some are ready to transition. And those are the ones that we're talking to.
Yeah, I just so happen to be in a place now where the negative aspect is just not palatable for my life. And at one time I thought it was my peace. So, and I had to go through that to learn where the peace was. So there's no better here. We're all in our place, our path to peace. And for some reason, it just seems that we have a heart to say, hey, I think we found some peace over here. If you guys want to come on over, this is where if you're into that right now. But if not, I love you. And if you're, want to be on a high or a low or whatever you want to be in, that's cool. But I really just love this place. And I hope a lot of you, I'm sure a lot of you are enjoying this place as well. It's great to see more people viewing this. It's funny, like I said before, it's the only, I do other YouTube channels and I rely on views for those. So I'm really excited to see more views happen. But this one here, it's not even like, it's like, if there is, wonderful. It's really, it's nice to see people coming to this understanding and wanting to explore this piece. But like you said, it's not like it's got to be. And I think that's what it comes down to. There's no it's got to be's in this place. And that's one of the most peaceful things about it.
Yeah.
It really just is. And that's the place I can always go back to. I have moments and days where maybe I'm not in that peace, but I can come back and
the way home.
I know the way home to it.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Well, boys and girls, I think that's my 42%, as I like to say. That's what I say in my other videos. I'm really enjoying this, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. Have peace within yourself, as Jesus said. It's I don't know. It's a little less tormenting. It's a lot less tormenting than going through the torment way. From Sharon and Steve, and to all of you, thank you for lifting up the Oneness Project.